If you've ever wondered, can I really grow my career while growing my family? This episode is for you. Today, I'm talking with career strategist and working mom of two, Sienna Dean, who quite literally earned a promotion while pregnant and now helps women align their purpose with their performance at work. We're digging into what to do when you feel stuck or under-recognized, how to advocate for yourself without burning out, and why motherhood actually makes you more powerful as a leader, not less. If you're ready to stop shrinking and start owning your value, let's dive in. Welcome to Career Growth for Working Women. If you're ambitious, capable, and quietly carrying more than your role reflects, you're in the right place. I'm Shannon, promotion and compensation coach, and I help women fast track their next promotion by teaching them how to show their value so clearly leadership can't overlook them. Here, we talk about career advancement, visibility, burnout recovery, and building confidence without burning yourself out or shrinking to fit someone else's expectations. So grab your coffee or reheat it for the third time and let's get into it. Hello and welcome. I'm thrilled to have Sienna Dean, a connector, career strategist, and champion for meaningful growth here with us today. Sienna has helped more than 500 professionals align their purpose with their performance, communicate their value, and build careers they genuinely are proud of. In her role as a senior alumni engagement manager at Management Leadership for Tomorrow, she supports a national network of over 10,000 diverse leaders and has facilitated more than 100 conversations on growth, leadership, equality, and navigating modern careers with intention. She's a working mom of two, an advocate for child development and education, and someone who knows firsthand what it's like to pursue career advancement while navigating postpartum, self advocacy, and earning a promotion while pregnant. She has a gift for helping people connect the dots in their careers so their story makes sense to others and just as important to themselves. Sienna, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to dig in today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So, your work centers on helping people bridge the gap between purpose and performance. So, for
Right.
the working moms listening, what does that actually look like for her day to day career?
Yeah, I love that question. So I love everyone that I work with to really just take a step back and think about why are they doing what they're doing, right? Sometimes, especially as moms, we get so focused on what has to get done in a day. And
Yes.
then those days turn into months, turns into years. And then we look up and we're just saying, I have three promotions in, but this was supposed to be temporary. So to really connect purpose to career, it's taking a step back and realizing why do you do what you're currently doing, and that can be, keeping it career centered. Why do you have the role that you have? Why are you taking on the projects that you're taking on? Oftentimes a lot of moms also are we take it all on. So you're doing all of these
Yes.
projects at work and nothing you're passionate about. So I really like, to connect purpose, figure out your why, figure out what is actually your North Star, and then see if it aligns. And if it doesn't, then we can take steps to making sure that you get back on the path. Doesn't mean you necessarily will have to leave your role, but you might have to shift your priorities in that role. So that's where I like to start, really making sure that individuals know their why in whatever career that they're in.
Yes, I love that because I think we do try and take on as moms. We try and take on way too many things, and even things that we're not good at. And if we
Yes,
would just stop for a moment and say, Sally over here is really good at this task. Maybe I should give her that because she's passionate about it. And,
absolutely.
then she gets something that she's excited for. And instead of trying to think that we have to be super mom
Oh
or
my
super
gosh,
woman.
I am a huge advocate. Live in your strengths. I am a
Yes,
huge proponent. I'm like,
me
I'm
too.
not good at that. And there's enough things I'm good at that I'll stay in that lane.
Right.
Sounds outside of that, I am more than gracious. And usually the project ends up 10 times better when you give it to the person that's actually passionate about what they're doing. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that was a big thing for me before I became a mom. I'd find myself working till 3 in the morning, many a nights on things that I didn't even care about, and just
Right.
to prove that I could do it.
Right. Yeah. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
So what would you say to the mom that's feeling stuck or under-recognized or even unclear of what's next for her? What would you say to her?
Yeah, of course. So first, I'm all about you have to be, woman first. You can't show up for others if you haven't shown up for yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. And so if you're feeling stuck, look internally. What are those gaps? Where aren't you seeing yourself in your life? If you feel like you're currently in situations where you're a shadow of yourself, then that is will help you pinpoint of saying, okay, this isn't a natural alignment for me. And once you figure out, um, you feel that way in those situations, then you can take a step back and like, how can I adjust? So if you're feeling stuck, figure out, pinpoint when you feel stuck. Because oftentimes it's built up and you feel like your entire life is off the tracks. That often isn't the case, but I want you to be very intentional of saying, okay, I just had that meeting and I didn't like how that made me feel about myself. Or I just completed that project and, I felt so depleted more than when I'm doing other things in work. So,
Right.
Really pay attention to when that energy feels most draining, compile a list, and then figure out how do you remove that from your plate. Honestly, most times it's a conversation. And I think as
Mhm.
moms, we really have to become comfortable having difficult conversations, one with ourselves and then with others. So many times you feel like I have to, it's in my job description. Oftentimes the people making job descriptions don't really know what the job entails. And things constantly shift. I'm like, my job looks nothing like what I was hired for anymore. And that's okay. But it's important that you own that. You own what you're responsible for and you communicate when it no longer serves you. And, I'm huge proponent of advocating for yourself. So once you have those conversations, once with yourself, and then whoever can adjust what you're responsible for, I'm sure at least half of those things will be taken off your list, and make sure you fill them with things that you actually care about, right? Because
Mhm.
oftentimes, if we leave empty space, we just fill it with something else that we're not passionate about. So
Right.
anytime I cut down on my responsibilities at work, I look for things that I actually am passionate about that support my why. And then you'll find that your life eventually feels a little bit more balanced.
I love that. I love that. And I know you've had conversations with so many people. So listen to her when she gives this advice because you've had a lot of conversations. So I want to get back to the fact that you got a promotion when you were pregnant. And I know a lot of our listeners are saying that's really impossible. So what made it possible and
Okay.
how can you what advice can you give to these women that may be thinking like I'm pregnant. I can't get a promotion right now.
When I tell you, it might have been one of the scariest things that I've done. It's maybe scarier than the actual having a child. and, and it's for this reason. So many women that I talk to, and men, honestly, are scared to have a family because they feel it will derail their careers. And I was always passionate about having success in my life, but also starting a family. And so, when I realized I wanted to have a child, I tried to take on so much that year to prove, even though, and I told myself, I'm only going to be gone for the least amount of time, 3 weeks, I'll be back. Go. And the more that I was going through pregnancy, I realized like I started looking internally, what was important to me. And I realized I would be giving up something equally important, if not more important, by like confining pregnancy into a box so that I
Right.
can go back to running a race. And when
Mhm.
I realized that, it gave me that confidence that it puts things in perspective, that I was having conversations that I was never confident enough to have. I was having step level manager conversations. So I actually got to know, leaders in my organizations as people.
Right.
And it's interesting. We often shy away when we're going through personal things at work, but
Right.
those are the things that connect people. There were so many women leaders in my organization when I found out that I was having my first child that wanted to pour into me. And, we built those relationships, we built that rapport as women first.
Right.
And then also, it helped me think about what did I actually care about in the organization. So I used that time, instead of trying to prove I could do everything, to focus on what could I do well and what were the two strategic projects that had visibility and that naturally aligned with my talents that I could achieve in that year before I went out. And it's so amazing when, we feel we have to carry so much. But honestly, if you carry half of what you carry, many people don't carry anything after you leave. And so, what really I think was the transformative fact about me getting promotion is I delivered these two amazing projects and then it stalled until I got back. And they helped the organization to realize we can't lose her.
Right, right.
Because often that we're just doing all these smaller things. And then it's just like, oh, that's an inconvenience, but like it can easily be replaced. But when you use that time to really figure out, what do I care about? What does the organization care about? And you find a way to have that aligned, it was so eye-opening to realize many people don't think like that, and it really puts you ahead. So I would say pregnancy allowed me to look internally, focus on building confidence within, building relationships, finding strategic projects, and then realizing many people are not doing that. So when you step away, so many people was like,
Your absence is seen at that
is
point
seen. It's seen. And I ended up
and
taking
felt.
the entire 3 months that my organization offered me. And they were like, that was the longest 3 months ever. Like, when are you coming back? I had
Right.
people texting me. So my promotion slid by seamlessly because, I had proven my value before I left to myself, most importantly, that I was
Right.
comfortable and people could see that it radiated off of me. So yeah, that is.
I love that because I feel like sometimes the listeners are like, "Oh, well, I have to keep proving myself even while I'm off work because I want to make sure." But it's because they're doing those small tasks that, oh, well, if
Mhm.
that gets set aside, not a big deal. But
Right.
the way you did it was these strategic projects. And so your presence or your absence was really felt throughout the whole thing, showing them how valuable an asset you are to the
Yes.
company.
Yeah, no, it's a very important one, always going back to self-advocacy. Two, dream big, I think oftentimes we pour so many dreams into others,
Mm-hmm.
and you really just remind yourself that this is also your life. What do you want to achieve? And if you're in an organization, it should align. Well, if you want success, it really it has to align with the values of the organization. But if you put those two things together, you will be really impressed by the way people start to understand your value, and those little things, those little tasks, they'll just disappear because now people are like, well, we want to save Sienna's time for big initiatives, for strategic things versus we all have to do just the mundane everyday things. But
Right.
they'll like randomly people just stop asking me to do those things, and I was like, why is that? But I was getting invited to more of those meetings where actual decisions were being made.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like we have these high achieving moms that need to feel they have this passion but they're feeling torn between work and family and all of that. So what guidance would you give to those women that and navigating that tension maybe?
Yeah, of course. So I'm there. I'm always there. So, and I don't think there's a perfect answer in every season,
Right.
but I would say think about the season that you're in, right? So we are currently in the holidays. Family expects a lot right now. Like, I yeah,
Yes.
my son, he's constant like, yeah, he this is the first Christmas that he really can register that like what's going on. So he's
Oh.
like, you better go all out.
Yeah.
um but thankfully, things start to also wind down at work during this time. So I have the bandwidth to be more intentional with family and, pour into my kids and my husband and things of that nature. So really just pay attention to the season that you're in, but also acknowledge you might be in a season where you need to recharge, right? So with all that being said, I'm looking forward to creating arts and crafts with my son and, doing those family things. but I also took a week off and I'm taking him to his grandparents. And I'm like,
Yeah.
in that week, I am
Yeah.
claiming back some time. So, I think it's really intentional to not just say, like, oh, I have a gap. Let me pour everything into everyone else in this
Right.
space of my life, but check in with yourself and say, like, hey, I also need some time to recharge and you deserve it. I
Yes.
am a huge, like, you deserve it. Every
Otherwise, you have
listener,
burnout,
right?
and you don't want to get to that point. You need to recharge before you get there.
You need to, especially during this time, right? When you're supposed to be in a space of gratitude, but it's so often we're just trying to get through it. And, I am way more jolly after I've had some me time. So
Me
I'm like,
too.
it's to everyone's benefit.
Yes, yes, I totally agree. So what do you think women underestimate about their value
Mm,
as leaders in the workplace?
yeah. So, one of the most transformative moments in my life has been becoming a mom. You are already leading. And, like, we are leading households, like the survival of human beings.
Yes.
Like, my organization used to say, like, our work's important, but we're not birthing babies. We birth babies. Like,
Yeah.
so, I really think we undermine and kind of discredit how we already show up as leaders in a significant portion of our lives. Use
Yeah.
that to drive the confidence that you need at work. Think about how you already show up for your kids, how you show up for others in your life. Many of us have been leading for a long time and just
Mhm.
haven't been calling it that. So
Right.
when you realize that, like, oh, I have, 20 plus years, 30 plus, whatever the case may be, of experience leading already,
Mhm.
then speaking up in a meeting doesn't feel that hard. Leading
Yes.
individuals at work doesn't feel that hard. Like, so you are already qualified. And
Yes.
it's really just reflecting and pinpointing all those examples. Remember when, like, your child didn't want to eat and you convinced them that they still had to eat their vegetables? Strategic, so you have these examples, use them. And the more you think about it, anytime I'm having a difficult meeting or need to have a difficult conversation, or, I manage a regional board across the US, I have 43 mid to senior level people reporting to me. And
Wow.
I'm like, oh my gosh, how do they listen? But honestly, that will never be as intimidating as getting like a 13th month old to do what they just don't want to do.
Oh, yes. That in
Right?
itself is a
I'm,
challenge.
at least I'm talking to people whose brain is fully processed. They know why they're there. So it really will help put things in perspective. Lean into that power as moms because
Yes.
it's a lot of power. So
Yes,
that's
it
what I
is. Oh,
would.
I love it. I love it. So, Sienna, what's the best place for our listeners to connect with you?
Yeah, so I would love to connect on LinkedIn. It's Sienna Dean. I hope we'll be able to link it.
Mhm.
I'm
Yes.
always looking to have conversations with moms, parents that are feeling like, how do I navigate both of these important parts of my life, career and parenting? So yeah, if you want to connect, have conversations, I'm actually in the process of building a space for parents and their kids. So I would love to share more about that if we connect on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Before we wrap up today, I love to leave my listeners with a powerful takeaway that they can do this week. So, what is something that you would challenge them to do?
Yes, so I challenge you, being avoiding burnout is not one moment, right? So I won't say find an hour of peace, but look for peace throughout the week, right?
Mhm.
And to really just prioritize yourself. If it's grabbing, a 15-minute walk every day, vitamin D is extremely important. So
Yes.
if
Yes,
there's
it
any
is.
around you, because I know we've been having some terrible weather lately, but find pockets for yourself during this holiday season. It can feel continuous and never ending, but when you prioritize yourself, you can prioritize others. So
Yes.
look out for yourself.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was great.
If today's episode sparked something for you, a question, an idea, or a realization, don't ignore it. I offer promotion strategy calls where we walk through your current role, your goals, and how to position you for your next promotion or raise without burning out or overworking. You can book that call using the link in the description. And if this episode helped you, sharing it or leaving a quick review makes a bigger difference than you know. Until next time, keep sharing your value clearly. You've earned it.